The Last U.S. Dead in Nam. From VFW Magazine, February 2013. Article by Richard Kolb. The truce was signed in January 1973. During the days leading up to that, there were a lot of men who got killed. On January 8th, a Huey Iroquois helicopter of the 67 Aviation, 11th Aviation Group, 1st Aviation Brigade, was on a routine flight to pick up and discharge personnel at a designated landing zone. Hit twice by SA-7 missiles fired by the VC 35th Quang Tri Provincial Regular Company. It went down near the Arvins I-2 combat base in Nambu Hamlet, Myland District. Ten days later, on January 23, Nixon announced the formal end of America's war. Still in what became known as Landgrave 73, the Communists coordinated more military movements on the very eve of the truce on January 27, in the 48 hours before the ceasefire took effect. The North Vietnamese attacked more than 400 villages and hamlets. U.S. Air Force and Navy planes flew 900 bombing sorties and 50 B-52 strikes for the Arvin. One of the most enduring controversies of the Vietnam War was the fate of the 8-man crew of Baron 52. On the night of February 4th, little more than a week after the Paris Peace Accords were signed, an Air Force EC-47Q electronic warfare collection aircraft was shot down 35 miles southeast of Saravan in southern Laos. That was an airplane that looked a lot like a DC-3. The intelligence crew, or backenders, were from Detachment 3, 69th 94th Security Squadron, a unit of the highly secretive U.S. Air Force Security Service. The flight crew were part of the 361st Tactical Electronic Warfare Squadron in Thailand. The excavation team in 1992-93 determined that the aircraft was most likely lured into a flak trap by NBA gunners. When the trap was sprung, the aircraft would have literally been shot out of the sky. In the air war of Cambodia, the very last Americans to die in combat before the U.S. war in Indochina ended in 1973 were Captain Samuel B. Cornelius and Captain John J. Smallwood. On June 16th, their F-4E fighter Phantom, flying with the 336 Tactical Fighter Squadron, took a hit from ground fire over Lamphat, claiming the pilots' lives. The last B-52s left the skies on August 15th. The final A-7 Corsair strike was reportedly flown by Captain Lonnie Ratley. He completed a 20mm cannon run, officially the last U.S. hostile fire in our Southeast Asian War in 1973. It was a 12-year ordeal. Less than 1,000 Marines would be back for the 18-hour evacuation of the U.S. Embassy in Saigon. The war now belonged to the Vietnamese. By an ironic twist of history, when the U.S. military finally left Vietnam, it had been exactly 12 years since the Rose Bowl and ST-47 recon aircraft had been shot down by Tatit-Lao 35mm anti-aircraft fire over the plain of Jars in Laos on March 23, 1961. So it had lasted 12 years, 4 months, and 15 days. Now, 40 years later, the final 34 hostile American deaths in Indochina during 1973 are barely remembered. It's high time they're paid the tribute they so richly deserve. You got that right,